Diana Russini made waves on Friday when she tweeted that there's nothing set in stone yet, but the sense I get from around the league is that momentum around banning the tush push is growing. I feel like it's getting more momentum in terms of those opposed to it than I've ever heard before. It's no secret that one of the most unstoppable plays in sports, not only in recent history, but of all time, is none other than the reigning Super Bowl champion Eagles' notorious tush push. It's become such a household name over the past few years that it now supersedes Mark Sanchez's infamous butt fumble as the most famous piece of football terminology referring to that part of the body. But before I get into it and why it works so well that the league is literally considering putting a permanent ban on it, I want to talk about the mechanics of it first and why it is physically impossible to stop, and one of the main reasons that the Philadelphia Eagles have won 39 regular season games over the last 3 seasons, along with 2 trips to the Super Bowl and their recent dominating Super Bowl win. First of all, as everyone knows by now, Jalen Hurts was squatting 600 pounds while he was still in college. I don't even have to get into how insane that is, let alone for a quarterback. But when you factor in the size of their offensive line, especially on the left side, which Hurts is designed to run behind, then you can begin to see how they converted 39 of their original 48 tush push attempts last season into a first down or a touchdown. The average size of each of their 5 starting offensive linemen was a whopping 338 pounds and a height of 6'6". Philadelphia Eagles offensive line is literally a group of actual walking monoliths. It made for the largest offensive line in Super Bowl history and one of the greatest offensive lines in NFL history. So despite how good all around their roster was with talent at literally every position, including a 2,000-yard running back who is somehow rated as the second best running back in the 2025 Madden ratings behind Derrick Henry, it was the offensive line that led the way for the team. And though I'm not saying that I completely agree with it, you could feasibly make the case that the main reason Saquon Barkley achieved that was because of the strength of the offensive line. Literally all 5 of their starters received votes for AP All-Pro, while 2 of them actually made one of the teams. That they were as dominant as they were a season removed from losing one of the greatest centers to ever play the game is even more impressive. This unit was also a large part of the reason that even when they failed at the tush push on the first try, they simply just followed it up with another attempt, which they got 8 times. This means that out of their 48 total attempts, the Philadelphia Eagles only missed a conversion 1 time, which, as it turns out, came on a botched snap in week 1. And all this came on the heels of a 2022 season when they converted 92.6% of their quarterback sneaks, and then another 83.3% in 2023. Yeah, the tush push is literally impossible to stop, which is likely why one of the teams they beat in this year's playoffs, the Green Bay Packers, have been recently revealed as the previously unnamed team that is seeking to get the play banned. And here I have to say that the whole thing is kinda stupid. And this is coming from a Dallas Cowboy fan that wants to see the Philadelphia Eagles fail. I always thought that the goal in football was to get first downs until you get a touchdown, no matter how you did it. Whether it was a 90-yard bomb to Randy Moss or a goal line touchdown by Jerome Bettis. The game mimics warfare in a way, which is exactly why people have flocked to it. But can you really imagine during trench warfare if one side cried to the other that they shouldn't be allowed to crawl on the ground anymore to dodge bullets? And sure, maybe that's a stretch, but if you think about it, it does kind of make sense. It's the same reason that Sports Emmy Award winner and former hard-hitting Pro Bowl safety Ryan Clark shared this recently on ESPN.
How soft do you have to be? Oh, we can't stop it. Our linebackers get hurt. Shut the hell up and bow your neck and stop the play. It's like everything else in sports. If you don't have the personnel to do it, you actually don't do it.
The truth is that doing things like banning the tush push is how things get changed and deteriorate in sports over longer periods of time. It's because of little concessions of coddling like this. And though it's a long way from the game of football, all you have to do is look at what happened to the NBA over time to see a red flag where this eventually leads. It's football, people. It's a dangerous sport. That's part of the reason these guys get paid multi-millions of dollars to play it. Like literally, why would the NFL even consider this? Tony Kornheiser summed it up the same way briefly and passionately on a recent episode of Pardon the Interruption.
So don't get on a moral high horse here. Stop the play, and after you stop the play, then say I want to ban it.
I'm suspect whenever I hear anybody in NFL talk about health and safety.
So yes, instead of coming to the aid of the other franchises, they should be left to figure it out on their own. This is how the sport improves, and we can say what we want about the butt whooping the Eagles put on their up and coming rival Washington Commanders in the NFC Championship game, but at least the Washington Commanders and Tasmanian Devil Frankie Louvu were out there actually trying to figure out a way to stop it, no matter how hilarious it was. Nonetheless, it should come as no surprise that one of the people who is most against a new sanction coming down on the play is none other than Eagles head coach Nick Sirianni, who has actually taken offense to the potential ban.
I feel a little insulted because we worked so hard at that play. The amount of things that we've looked into how to coach that play, the fundamentals, is always, there's 1,000 plays out there, but it comes down to how you teach the fundamentals and then how the players go through and do with the fundamentals. I can't tell you how many times we practice the snap, we practice the play, because it's not a play that it's easy to practice. There's different ways we figured out how to practice it, the complements that come off of it that can create explosive plays.
But with everything said about how the tush push is just an attempt to stop the Philadelphia Eagles from using their team's #1 cheat code, for Nick Sirianni to stand up there and act like it takes some magic amount of practice or new coaching techniques to get 1 yard is a little ridiculous. The bottom line is that they signed a bunch of big boys and told Jalen Hurts to fall forward. Football guru Donald Trump even weighed in on the controversy, along with further reiteration of just how much he hates the new kickoff rule, saying that the tush push should remain legal. Other notable names such as former Super Bowl champion Mark Schlereth, who it should be noted was a 2-time Pro Bowl offensive guard in his career, believes that it should be banned, citing that it's not only boring to watch, but also there is no equivalent play on the defensive side of the ball and that it favors the offense.
I think it should be banned. And I'm an offensive guy, so a lot of people always look at me and go, what are you talking about? Behind defensive tackles and linebackers shoving defensive tackles, I think that's illegal. So why is it okay for the offensive side of the ball to be able to do that, but the defensive of the ball can't do it? It's illegal.
American radio personality Chris Russo recently said on an episode of First Take that NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell is not a fan of the play. Others have said that he hates it. As time went on, more and more momentum was gained for the tush push to be banned, and the craziest part is Sean McDermott himself had this to say about the banning of the tush push.
Where I'm most concerned is even though there's not significant data out there to this point, my biggest concern is the health and safety of the players. It's force, added force, number one, and then the posture of the players. That's where my concern comes in.
Do you think you'll...
Now this is really funny because the Bills, no joke, called the tush push 5 times in the 2025 AFC Championship game against the Kansas City Chiefs. But Josh Allen was only able to convert on 2 of those 5 attempts. I personally agree with D'Amico Ryan says here. It's tough to punish a team for being really good at something. Mike Vrabel mentioned that there are a lot of plays that are hard to defend. I don't think you can get rid of them every time it becomes tough to stop it. Like Lamar Jackson shouldn't be able to run with the football anymore. How about making that rule because it's hard to defend? And of course, the individual that is spearheading the banning of the tush push is Matt LaFleur, who had this to say about the play.
I don't think it's a great football play. It's more of a rugby play.
A club executive mentioned that this entire situation's bizarre, saying that it's weak. It's punishing a team who became excellent at executing the play. In 2022, when Philadelphia was the only team doing it, there was a concern that it made the game less compelling because 4th and short was no longer in doubt. Then other teams copied it and they can't do it as well. It reeks of jealousy. So on Tuesday, the NFL owners met together and it was revealed that NFL owners have tabled the banning of the tush push and they'll discuss it again in May because they didn't have the 24 votes needed to ban the tush push. Instead of holding a vote and revealing they were short, they decided to table it for the future. And I have to agree with Kyle Brandt here. I really don't understand why people are so worked up about this play.
You got to stop with these flimsy, wispy injury concerns. Don't show up to the tush-push gunfight with the pocket knife of injury concern. The old-fashioned running play at the goal line has a higher injury risk than the tush-push. So it doesn't look like football to me. It's because it's kicking your ass in football. That's why you don't like it.
If it was going to be banned, it was going to get banned on Tuesday, because on Tuesday we found out a bunch of new rule changes. There's still other rules that they're addressing, which is how the onside kick is going to be handled in the future. But the NFL also passed a rule in regards to overtime, which allows both teams to possess the ball in overtime in the regular season. The original proposal was for a 15-minute OT that now has been amended to 10 minutes. So pretty much the Josh Allen rule is now extending to the regular season. But probably the craziest rule change is the fact that the touchback has now been modified. Over a decade ago, a touchback was automatically starting with the football at the 20-yard line. But now after a touchback, the football moves to the 35-yard line, which pretty much makes kickoffs way less prevalent in the NFL. With so many faces on both sides saying so many different things, it's hard to predict what the actual outcome of the situation is going to be. How fans would react to such a decision remains to be seen. But if Roger Goodell does go the route of banning it, then the Philadelphia Eagles are going to have to figure out a replacement for the play that has been so vital to their success. But even if that does happen, one has to expect the Philadelphia Eagles to remain in contention for the next several years, even if it is without what would no doubt go down as one of the most famous packages in NFL history.